Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Nguyen.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Tom King. I write Batman Bitch, and this is Bat Force Radio.
All right, welcome to Bat Force Radio, the DC Batman with No podcast. Wow, dude. That's 3 for 3.
I love it. This is the third time in a row.
That I fucked up an intro.
It's so fun.
Jesus.
Leave that in.
Welcome back to Bat Force Radio, the DC Batman podcast with no limits. Jesus Christ, it took forever. Very special episode tonight. Let's go around the round table, get that out of the way first. I am Bat Force Tom in California. We got Grandpa Batman in Texas.
Please rate and review.
We got Robin D. Cross in Canada.
Good afternoon.
We got the Bat Force Times in New York. And we have a very special, we have a set of guests tonight. But before we get to that, we got to take care of some business. We want to thank a very special sponsor for this episode, Healy & Son. Tailors and shirt makers serving the Royal Counties and Southeast England, specializing in beautiful hand-finished garments cut to the exact dimensions and requirements of each individual client. Formerly the tailoring arm of Black Tie Menswear, Healy & Sons tailoring history stretches back to the 1960s and journeys through many iconic tailoring houses, such as Conway Williams of Brook Street and Gibbs & Hawkes of Seville Row. Healy & Sons aims to make beautiful, traditional West End style tailoring accessible to every gentleman, regardless of budget.
Thank you, Healy & Sons. All right.
There you go.
Cool.
And it's actually pretty nice that we have Graeme from Healy & Sons on tonight, correct?
Yes. Hello. How you doing?
And also with you tonight, we have an incredible scene-stealing actor who has appeared in Head Full of Honey, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Game of Thrones, and most recently as Gary in Todd Phillips' Joker, Leigh Gill, everybody. Awesome.
That was a nice enjoy. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to have you guys. And I mean, I don't even know. It's crazy where we can start here, but let's start with Graeme. Graeme, so you are you have a shop, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been in tailoring for about 20 years or so now. My dad was a Savile Row tailor. I mean, he's done a bunch of stuff, but, you know, that's where he really kind of cut his teeth. So I've got a shop in Berkshire in England, and I specialize in, like, bespoke handcraft tailoring, basically. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do.
And you came across our radar because I started seeing that the Bat Force, you know, you started tagging us, and I just started seeing these suits. I'm like, holy shit, like these Joker-inspired suits that this actor Leigh, and at the time, this was before the movie had come out, so I wasn't even aware of the fact that like Leigh was in the film. It just looked like this actor has been wearing these like Joker handcrafted suits. I'm like, what the fuck? This is insane. And then lo and behold, you know, more information of the movie comes out, and then we see that he's actually a star in the film. And you were able to create these amazing, specific, and customized suits for Leigh for the premieres and some of the press tours that he was a part of for the movie, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been doing some stuff for Leigh for a while, but when Leigh told me that this was going to be happening for him, like obviously, you know, it was a massive buzz. I should say, I mean, I've been following the Bat Force for a while. You know, I'm a big DC Batman fan.
Oh, thank you.
So when he mentioned it, I mean, me and Leigh are both comic book fans, so it was a huge thing for both of us. Like, really, when he gave me the news that he was going to be in the Joker, I was like, what the fuck, you know? So immediately we were like, okay, we're going to have to do something really special for this, because like this is a turning point, right? You know, Leigh's been in a bunch of stuff, but this is a big one for him, you know, and. So it was a good opportunity for me, obviously, to get my name out there, and I didn't want to do it by half. But
well, half the amount of material.
Yeah. So it's like I knew I wanted to do something special for it, but similarly, my cutting style, like the style that we have at the shop, is very English. It's very timeless. So I didn't want to cheapen like anything that he was doing. Right, I wanted him to look really legit and really elegant, and keep things, like what I'm known for. Basically, I didn't want to go kind of too much of a statement, but I knew similarly that it had to be Joker inspired. I had to draw those influences because, I've always been such a fan, and it gave me the opportunity to sort of flex some creative muscle, and it was a cool experience. But that's kind of how it came about. So I guess it was maybe like 6 months ago we started with them.
Yeah.
With, like, design stuff, ideas, and we knew we wanted to have those iconic colors and things like that. The lining was the biggest one, the big statement for it, which was like that kind of Killing Joke inspired ha ha ha, which was actually all done on Microsoft Paint. Because the original idea was that I wanted to have that that panel of from the Killing Joke of the Joker, bleeding head. But it was too much of an issue, like with because it was going to be used for promotional purposes, like have rights and stuff to use it. So I was like, screw it, I'll just do my own thing. So there I was for like 3 hours on Microsoft Paint, just scrawling ha 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 over and over, and then had it printed up into a lining, and then cut it for the suit. So we had.
Oh, so that's your own handwriting in that?
Yeah, it's my own. Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay,
awesome.
cool.
That's fun.
Cool.
So it was. Yeah, it was a commitment. But it was cool, and I can't. Yeah, they couldn't have come out any better. Like I was over the moon with how they came.
It was easy for me. I just had to turn up a few times and try them on. So
Yeah.
All credit goes to Graeme there. And obviously, like being my size, I can't just go out and buy a suit off the hanger. So like when you go to premieres and stuff, it's like the coolest thing ever. That one of my best buddies is a tailor. So
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's pretty handy.
That's gold right there.
pretty everything needs. When,
Yeah. Like the other thing, from a tailoring standpoint as well, that there's like I feel that it's cool that little people now are getting roles that aren't like cliche for little people.
Right.
Obviously Peter Dinklage being the big one, right? They're playing roles as normal people, which is what it should be about, right? And like the fact that they're little people is secondary to the role, right? Just the way the most of them should be, right? But saying that, there's no one in the limelight with that kind of a build that is dressing particularly well, right? So it was an opportunity to show that, it's. I wanted to make Leigh look as good as possible, and so that pattern work and stuff was the big part. That was the difficult, like.
I always look good.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
Guys that don't dress like this, like normally as well. The sartorial kind of thing is not. It's not what I do every. I live and breathe it.
Yeah.
But when I'm out on the streets, it's just t-shirts and jeans, and like I have a love of it, but it's not how we dress every day. So like when it comes time for like a really special occasion, there's no more special occasions than a red carpet premiere, right? So
Yeah.
having Leigh in the limelight, he needs to look legit. So and it shows that everyone can look legit, right? By paying a bit more attention to the way they dress.
That's
cool.
That's an interesting point because I'm really excited that Tom mentioned Healy and Son, because for a while now I was planning to get some work done over at Tom's Farthing in London, but you're I don't even know, you cover all bases in terms of, I guess, for lack of better terms, would there be like a 20s 30s influence with some of your work as well, or with
So my dad was on Savile Row in the 60s, and all his influences were like 30s, 40s, and a little bit earlier. Yeah. So those influences like played a big role in my formative like tailoring years. Like I draw a lot of influence from that era. Yeah. Even though the silhouette's different, it's a bit more contemporary, a bit like slimmer. I mean, he was in military tailoring mostly, so our silhouette's always been quite slim anyway. Right. But yeah, I love all of those old school, the hats and the overcoats and double-breasted suits and all of that kind of. Yeah. After that style died a vicious death, right? And fashion came to the forefront. Yeah. So, you know, those are the glory days for me. So it's, you know, you come to the shop, those influences are just all over the wall. You know, all these old 30s fashion plates and stuff that I'm kind of constantly drawing influence from.
I think a little help with that came from after shows like Boardwalk Empire started to put some limelight back on how good people used to dress. And I think, you know, I think that's helped build a little resurgence in terms of that. Because, you know, with Farthing and yourself as well, just great looking things. And I think it's a British thing as well. Because when I'm over there, I think, you know, Europeans, mainly the British in general, just know how to do suits better. I mean, I was speaking to the guys earlier in terms of like red carpets and America and whatnot. And, you know, a lot of people dress like in these shitty plain looking suits with like big red Trump ties and shit like that.
How dare you?
You know? And so
how dare you?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, there's, with a bit of all it takes is a little bit of education, but still so many people are doing it badly because the only information out there comes from a fashion standpoint. It doesn't come from a like style, etiquette kind of type standpoint. There's a few people that do it really well. Like Henry Cavill is a big one. Like, you know, he always dresses great. He's very handsome man.
I just worked with him on The Witcher. We filmed a bit.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
yeah.
God, dude, you're in everything.
Yeah, he's a strikingly handsome man. My God. You know, like, so you want to be an actor, like to impress girls and stuff, and then you get put in something next to a man like that. And I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say, like, about how I look in that, but let's just say, there's a huge contrast. I think he's going to be the one impressing the ladies in there, not me.
It's funny you mentioned that. I took my wife to Disneyland for her birthday this past year. And so she's like, oh, let's take a selfie. So we took a selfie, and then, you know, she's like posting it on social media, and she's like, oh my God, so handsome. And I was like, oh, thanks, babe. And she's like, no, Henry Cavill just posted. He's so handsome.
That's amazing.
Like,
he's a difficult guy to hate, right?
Yeah.
He's such a good dude.
He's so polite and lovely as well. I kind of forgot that he was British. You know,
yeah,
he does.
Tempted to see him in like with an American accent, but he's like. Yeah. I wanted to take him home to meet my mum. He's like the old, like British gentleman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It goes to show that you can do that kind of thing, and you can be stylish and stuff, and it's not an eccentricity. It's, you know, it can be part of who you are without it being at the forefront. It should be almost like intangible, right? But yeah, he's a jiu-jitsu player as well, which is kind of a big thing for me. I have the respect for him for that.
He's
Roger
a huge nerd too. He's a really big nerd.
Yeah, that's what I've heard anyway. So
speaking of his jiu-jitsu stuff, I don't know if you're a fan, Graeme, but I know Leigh is. What'd you think of the fights last night?
Oh shit! Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah!
Oh, fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
Okay, so half of my family are from Liverpool, so I was rooting for Darren Till massively, and everyone was telling me he had no chance, but he won.
Yeah,
that was cool. The stoppage.
He looked great.
Yeah. Well, he's a big dude, isn't he? I think he's probably better suited to that club anyway. But the stoppage sucked it on the last fight, but you know.
Yeah, I felt I didn't like the stoppage at first, but then I saw some close-ups of the cuts, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
I
reconciled with it a bit after Dana said that, you know, he was pissed off about the stoppage until he went into the back and saw Nate and his eyebrow was hanging in front of his eye.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see the stitches that he got? I mean, he literally
all around
that eye.
Yeah, that shit would have come off.
That's every fight for him and Nick, though. They both have, you know, they fight every day, I think. So they both have so much scar tissue and around their eyebrows and everything.
Yeah, but you know, that's kind of this. Nate Diaz is like a zombie. Just let him carry on. You know? Stop it for other people, but he's fine.
Yeah. It's
hammer, he'll still carry on. Just let the dude fight, you know.
It's too bad too. Like it's too bad with the drama that happened leading up to the fight too. When it's so fucking funny how he put it out on Front Street to begin with. He's like, they're saying that I came up positive. That's bullshit. I don't take anything. And they're saying to wait until after the fight, and he's like, "Fuck that. Either you clear it up now, or I'm not fighting." I thought that was kind of awesome.
Yeah,
but
badass.
Yeah, it's too bad either way.
The Corey Anderson win was a shocker for me. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Just the way he won. I thought he was just going to wrestle him but the fact that he knocked out Walker was crazy to me.
But he had studied him, I guess. He pointed out that I wasn't even aware of this. I guess he had 2 or 3 knockout losses from right hooks.
Ah, okay.
See, I'm more of a martial arts geek. Like I love watching jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So like the stand and bang thing, it makes me wince a little bit. You know, it's like I'm a bit of a pussy when it comes to that. Like I'd rather.
That's the shit that I love.
Like submission styles. I'm not I've dabbled with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but my history's in all the traditional Japanese stuff. You know, the judo, things like that I've done for years and years. So that's that's eye candy for me, watching submission stuff, and there wasn't a lot of that yesterday.
Yeah.
Too much stuff.
Yeah, I think my
you just like fucking carnage.
Yeah.
You're like the biggest. Like the funny thing is with Leigh that like I was out with a few of our other friends the other night. Leigh wasn't out, but we were talking about this. Like back in the day when we were in a band together, like he always had the long term. He was always the girlfriend guy, right? He was always the super sweet guy with the girl everyone liked. And then the rest of us were like the party animals. And then all of a sudden it turned a corner where we all settled down, and now Leigh's like legit rock star. Can't get enough.
Yeah.
Like I called him yesterday to double check on what was happening tonight. At what time did I call you? Like
it's about I don't know 10.
Something like that.
Something.
And he was sleeping like just on death's door, like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, at the weekends, my body clock tends to go the other way. I'm out all night and then sleep all day. So like, I only got what time is it now? It's like 8:15. I think I got up about an hour ago.
What did you guys play in the band?
I play guitar, and Graham's one of those annoying people that can play every instrument. But in the band, with me, he was the bassist and singer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Hooray for me! You won't find any stuff there. It was like.
I think it might have MySpace. If MySpace is still
if that's still going, you'll probably find it. Yeah. Interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah.
I'll add you guys to my top 8.
I think there might still be music on there.
I think there might be.
If that website still works.
Maybe we'll get into the charts now that you're a big movie star.
It was terrible band name. Hooray for me.
Hooray for me.
So we used to be like a punk band, and there was like a band. Was it Pulley who had a song called Hooray for Me? I think that's where Fraser got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years. I mean, this is going back to when we were like 17, 18.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to listen to all like the Fat Records, like bands like NoFX, Lagwagon, all that kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah, Southern California punk.
Yeah,
all the skate stuff really. But then we kind of evolved a little bit. We found our feet in some slightly kind of more melodic, rocky kind of stuff, and but then I mean it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So where was the transition from focusing on music to your acting, Leigh?
Well, I kind of always did both. Like in school, was learning, guitar and doing drama, and then after school, instead of going to real college, I went to music college just so I could play guitar and get drunk and pretend I was getting a real education. But and then when I was at music college, I was in theatre groups outside of that. So I was always kind of doing both. But I think when I got my first TV job, I realised, hey, there's a bit more money in acting than punk rock.
Yeah, true.
You do a job on TV or in a film, they don't just pay you in a crate of beer, So one of it, had to become the more sensible option, really.
There's this interesting thing. Another thing I was talking about with one of my other buddies the other day, that I remember going to watch Leigh in his first theatre production when we must have been 16 because I was dating someone that was in your theatre group, right? And we came to it, and the reaction to Leigh's performance was always the same. Like, There were all of these amateur actors, theatrical kind of actors, and they had that sort of theatrical feel for them. But everyone said the same thing about Leigh, that he's going to be on screen. Like the way he acts, the like aura about him.
They always made me like a grumpy old man or something. I always had like the cool thing about playing Gary in Joker was I actually got to be a nice dude. Like quite often, I think I must have a face like an arsehole or something.
I didn't say anything, dude. But
I always get cast as like an evil guy or like or grumpy old.
Even in Game of Thrones, you're an actor playing an evil guy.
Yeah, like an over-the-top evil version of Tyrion. But that was great fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's good.
Awesome.
I think it's good in the Joker movie where you get to stretch your acting chops, because that scene in the apartment when you start when you start weeping, I was like, this is really good fucking acting. This is not like, like in a real life situation where something like that would happen, people would like be screaming or anger, but you were like conveying fear on a high level of acting, and I was like, you don't see that much in cinema these days. So I'm glad you're able to stretch that party.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. The thing is, like, you work with someone like Joaquin, it's just so real anyway when you're there, So, and like a lot of the times, some of the stuff. Well, every scene you do, there's always an element of freedom to like improvise slightly and stuff, which Joaquin was the best at that I've ever seen. And like certain moments ended up on screen that were completely improvised. Like when I'm walking past, trying to get past the body towards the door, and he jumps at me and I'm like, oh, like. That was me genuinely shocked because I wasn't expecting him to do it.
Really?
Wow, that's interesting.
And that wasn't in the script. Like, it's just, he actually made it feel real, which, as an actor is incredible. You just play off of him, and you're playing off of the best in the world, basically.
Wow.
So what's so great about that specific scene too is that number one, as your character, you could tell that character Gary was probably the only person that actually cared about Arthur, and who genuinely, like, you were there because your friends. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. You're there to take after your friend. You were there looking after your friend, and that was the reason for that character being in that scene. So when your friend, talk about carnage, goes ape shit, and you witness your friend do that, like, your genuine reaction is, what are you doing, Arthur?
Yeah.
So that was awesome to see. But number two, like, you're pretty much the voice of the audience in that scene too, where it's the first time, I think, like, he does some violence and some big violence earlier, but that was like insanely horrific violence that he does in that scene, where it's like the turn where he starts to see, like, this guy is now becoming like a monster. And you're the guy that's kind of like the eyes of the audience in that moment. It's just, and there's like, I don't think there's any music. There's like nothing going on. It's just you guys like playing off each other in that one scene. I remember thinking, like, watching you, I'm like, this guy's fucking stealing the show right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, this guy is such a good, he's really conveying true emotion. I thought it was great. So, and you needed that push-pull because Arthur is just like in this numb world.
Stop.
No, I mean,
you watch, as soon as I get off, they'll be like, "What a dick!" He was.
No. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Also, like, I'm watching that scene, and I'm feeling for this guy, and I'm like, please don't kill him. Please don't.
He's like the only one you don't want to get fucking hacked.
He's the only cool dude, man. Don't kill this. So it's like Gary had a message inside the movie itself. The message the movie has its own message, but even Gary has his own message. Like, you know what? You be nice to people. You treat people kind. You get to live.
You get to live. Yeah. You don't get stabbed in the fucking neck.
I mean, that's the extreme version of it. I mean,
Well, because the character Joker, you guys both know him. He's not real nice to people. And he only keeps people around that have a purpose for him. And I was like, oh, shit. I hope there's a sequel. I hope Gary's in it. And I want to see what happens.
Same.
Yeah, he's like one of the few survivors. But
I kind of feel like, no disrespect to you, but I kind of feel like there just shouldn't be a sequel. Like it was so, it was so perfect. Like there were not issues that I had with it, but like from a fan point of view, like questions that I had, like the way they sort of veered away from some of the Joker mythos in some respects, and then kept really close with it in others. But I just don't think it requires any afterthought.
I know it doesn't need it. I mean, obviously that was their intention from the start, just to do a one-off. But I mean, if it's safe in anyone's hands, it's Todd and Joaquin.
Right. Even better idea.
We need a Gary spin-off. That's what.
That's what I was about to say. Even better. Next, it'll be just Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I've got to show you something. So, I've been getting sent loads of cool stuff online, like fan art and stuff.
Oh wow!
And my mum found one of them really funny, so she printed it out. And I've got.
I gotta see this.
When you start getting fan art sent to you.
Ty, you should do another Healy plug while he's
Healy and Sons.
Healy and Sons.
Oh yeah, for more information, go to www.healyandson.com.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a suit made. Actually,
you should. Yeah, you're always welcome.
It's like you guys on the outskirts of London and Crowthorne, is it?
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
It's gonna be that one.
Yeah, you see on my Instagram. I can't remember. I think the person was from Korea or something.
Oh shit!
And I just love that my mum found it so funny. She got it printed out and put in a frame for me.
That's awesome. We got to put that on the Bad Force feed, Tom. That's amazing.
Oh, hey,
dude. So that's the thing is
promo for the show.
What's so amazing about this film that you are in, that you've been immortalized in now, by the way, is that it's gone beyond just like a comic book movie. I don't think it ever was a comic book movie, the way they made it, the way it looks, but the memes, the attention it's getting from your everyday like my fucking grandmother asked me, "Have you seen Joker yet?" She's like, "I really want to see it."
Amazing.
My grandmother. And it's like, and it's reaching audiences that don't go see movies, period. They're the ones that wait around for the best films of the year, or what did the Academy Awards say that I go see, So I mean, dialing it back a little bit, what was it like with hearing about this movie being made and the process of did you have to go to an audition? Did you get someone tip you off about a role? How did that all start for you?
Through my agent, found out about the audition. I think obviously they mainly audition people in the States, and then sort of open it up. From here, obviously I had to do a video audition, self-tape. And my buddy Steve, who's an amazing actor as well, Steve Stokowski. Keep an eye out for his name; he's going to be awesome.
Oh, nice plug.
He helped me do my self-tape, and we sent it off, and it was about a week or two later, heard back, and it seemed like I had it. You never get a yes straight away with these things, because I guess it's an approval process, right? And but it seemed like they were saying keep these dates free, really strictly, and everyone else that gone for it had been told no. So I was like, I think I've got this. And so at first when I did the self tape, I didn't even know it was Joker. Right, they don't actually tell you that, and the characters' names are changed, etc. in the script. But then in the email back when they were saying to keep my dates free, they sort of dropped the director's name, Todd Phillips. So then I was like, I'm going to go online and see what Todd Phillips is working on right now.
Oh shit!
And then the penny dropped. I was like, fuck! I think this is the Joker. I was like, I have to have this role. So I didn't want to just wait around, going nuts every time my phone rang in case it was the news. So I booked a one-way ticket to New York and told my agent to arrange a meeting, because I felt like the guys in the States that had a face-to-face audition were probably at a slight advantage, because sometimes it's about meeting a person and wanting to work with them, whereas I was a stranger on a video, halfway across the world. So I knew that if I was in New York, pretending that I was just happened to be there visiting friends, I could probably get a face-to-face audition as well.
Nice.
Just in case there was someone a close second, and it's easier to cast them because they don't have to pay for flights. They had to pay for me to have a US visa to act over there as well. All of those things. I didn't want that. I wanted to just not be a stranger on a video anymore, so I booked a one-way ticket and hung out in New York until I got a meeting. And it was Todd found out that I was over there, and he wanted to meet me himself in person.
Wow.
I thought the best I would get would be casting director, but Todd wanted to meet me himself, and he was just an absolute dude from the start.
Wow. Yeah, did you go to Rosa's Pizza?
No. No. I met him at it was in Brooklyn, the film studio over there. I'm terrible.
Okay.
I was out late last night. I should know the name of the film studio. Steiner Studios in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you meet him, and then did you know you had it after you met him, or how'd it go from there?
I had a sense. I had a sense when I was there that okay, I probably didn't need to come here. It seems like I already had it, but I wanted to make sure, And but yeah, even then, they were still clearly going through the approval process before they could give a definite yes. So I got back from New York, and I think it was about a week later I found out that I had the part.
Wow.
And and because of the time difference or whatever, my agent got it at a weird time, and she got it on an email, and she said she couldn't sleep that night, so she just randomly checked her phone, her emails, and saw something that had come in the night before. But she wanted to tell me straight away, and it was like 5 a.m. I got like a text off of my agent, and saying that I got it, and then I ran into my flatmate's room in my pants, and he thought like something had happened, like we were being, and then he jumped out of bed. He's like, "What's up? What?" I was just like, stood in my pants. I started crying. I just went, "I got it!"
Wow.
And then we had a very manly hug.
That's
I've
awesome.
got quite an interesting. Well, I think I might have quite an interesting insight to this because just a few months. I mean, it must be like a year ago or so now. We were hanging out in Five Guys in Guildford.
Yeah.
And you just had your screen tests for Showman, right? The Greatest Showman, Hugh Jackman, right?
Oh, wow.
And I'd never seen Leigh want something more, right? It was you and one other guy, right?
It was like, I think, there was a few left in it, but like right from the start, reading the script and knowing it's based on a real character, he needed to look cherubic and cute, and like it needed to be, because I think the real story was he was actually 11, but they pretended he was older, General Tom Thumb, and I was like, there's no way in hell, like I'm right for that role, so I'm always just this like evil dwarf or like bad guy, and so I tried like real hard on the audition to like act and look cute, which isn't easy for me.
But the other dude was Australian, right? The other dude was
but like he looks really young. Like I've got like the worst hairline ever. I've got a massive nose. Do you know what I mean? Like I just thought I knew I wasn't right for it, but it was cool to get like clothes. It was cool to get clothes. They can't cover that with a prosthetic size of that beak.
You kind of got a leg up though, because you being English, him being Australian. Australians are just like drunk Americans, so it's kind of like.
I mean, like, so that guy, I can't remember, was it Sam? He ended up getting there, but like it was cool. I had like Skype with the like producers and directors and stuff, but so that was kind of cool. But that was nothing compared to when Joker came out. I was like, that's the role.
But that's what it felt like at that time. Like I had high hopes that you'd get it, and you wanted it so bad. But when it transpired that you didn't get it, I kind of had this feeling. It's like, okay, something big's fucking coming. Like something huge must be coming now.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a comic book movie was like, I think I was just as excited as you were. Like, it's so big.
I think Graeme was one of the ones I was most excited to tell because he's a nerd.
I know we already talked about this scene, but because it's my favorite part of the movie and because it's such an important moment of the movie, I just wanted to go back to that apartment scene and just ask like how, because it's such a pivotal moment of the film and it's so intense. What was the preparation for that? And did you have to run through that scene very many times?
Well, I mean, like with any scene you do, you always, because people always ask that kind of thing, like how many takes or whatever. It's you cover it from like so many angles. You know, you have to get everybody's close-ups. You have to get the wides. Like, so whatever scene you do, you run it countless times. You know, I think we spent 2 days shooting that scene. I think like the second day was more focused on, you know, like special effects type stuff, like stunts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't actually Glenn Fleshler who was getting his head whacked against the wall. Do you know what I mean? It was his stunt double. So one day was focused on the majority of it, and then we had like another like part of another day where it was more that kind of thing, like technicalities and stuff. It's amazing how they managed to sew it all together. It's you run it so many times, and with someone like Joaquin, he's given you just like the most amazing performances every time.
Yeah.
And it's different. So like, you never feel like you're just repeating something. You actually feel like you're in it, you know, because he's just throwing a different look at it, like at you every time, you know. So
yeah.
And like, there's always that part of you, like when you watch yourself on screen, you do think back to like the hundreds of different versions of what you did, and think, I wonder if there was something I did better. But like, it's you just got to trust the director and the editors, you know. But great bits were left in, like where he takes the piss out of my British accent. I remember the first time and then like Todd came in, like he was like laughing. He's like, no, I like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's cool that like that stayed in, and the bit where he like jumps at me and like I'm genuinely like, what the fuck, like. Because he sat there like just like looking me right in the eyes, just looking terrifying, and I'm genuinely nervous to go past him because there's this little gap. And then when the first time he just like jumped out at me, I was like, "Fuck!"
Such a spike in the tension of that scene, and it continues through the whole thing because he lets you get to the door, and I started to wonder, did he just let him go to the door because he knows he can't get out? And he opens it,
you know?
And then he closes it again when he opens it and then closes the door. Oh no!
And do you know that wasn't going to happen. He was meant to let me out.
Oh wow!
He added that in.
Yeah.
And first time he closed the door, I was stood there thinking, what the fuck? Why did he do that? What? Hang on, what's he about to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, he added, like, you know, I think the line he says like is the like best ending for my character in the movie. You know, it's like, and that's really sort of like sets the message for what, you know, the whole reason of him letting me live. You know, he literally says, you know, you're the only one that's ever nice to me.
Yeah.
Wow. Exactly exemplified by the reasons for your two characters being there. You know, one of you was genuinely there to check on the well-being of your friend, and the other was there to cover his own ass because the police were involved.
Yeah. What's that other actor's name? The other clown?
Glenn Fleshler.
Glenn Fleshlight? What a fitting name.
That's way to set up for that joke, Tom.
You just killed me. Glenn Fleshler, not Fleshlight.
Okay.
He was the main bad guy in True Detective season 1.
Oh my God, that's him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's even. Holy shit! He was insane in that season. Well, I was gonna say, I was like, major props to him too, because he's such a piece of shit in this movie and so believable. Like, he's such
he's the loveliest guy. He's so polite, and he's quite quiet, you know. But yeah, he seems to be very good at playing like bad guys or arseholes. So,
Yeah, he's your typical self-serving fucking asshole in this movie. and you kind of love to see him get his due. But at the same time, like, it's hesitant because it's in front of you, and then it's like, oh shit, and then that when he closes the door, the tension just doubles when he closes that door on you. And there's memes been going around too where it says the second greatest villain of the Joker movie, and it's a picture of a lock.
I reposted that. That was funny.
Oh,
The other one's like, it's a picture of me, and then it goes like me, and then it's got a picture of the lock, and it says the girl I like. Do you know what I mean?
I saw another one that says, name a better pair, I'll wait. And it shows a picture of you and a picture of the lock.
Oh, that really rubbed me up the wrong way, actually, because they showed the one suit that I hadn't, like, made.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Like, this meme circulating everywhere. It's like, fuck, after these, like, beautiful creations that I've just done, I'm so proud of. It's like,
thousands
thousands
of man hours.
That was, it was a suit that I actually did, but it was like this off the rack thing that I had to hack to bits to like try and make it fit.
I gave him like 2 days notice or something. And I was like, dude, and he was like, "Oh, brilliant!" Like, I'll try and squeeze that into my working day. I was like, "Cheers, dude."
We'll make up for it. We'll make sure the promo photos we use are the ones of your suit.
Yeah, seriously, it's
and another cool suit Graeme did for me is he made it for I did a German film a couple of years ago, but I wore it recently to the Irishman premiere. It's like a grey suit, black lapels. Graeme made that one as well. If you check on my Instagram, there's a name dropping here. There's a really cool picture of me sat with Al Pacino.
Jesus.
And it felt like such an appropriate style suit to be wearing, like to that kind of, I don't know much about fashion, but it seemed like the appropriate sort of style to be wearing, like.
That was a fun one too. In fact, that was the first like fully bespoke one that I'd done for Leigh, because like that was where I really had to pay attention to the pattern, like, because then I was designing something specifically for Leigh and his proportions, and like having to take everything into account, like how do I make him look taller, like how do I flatter him, what bespoke's kind of all about. So that was the first outing, which it was nice that I got a trial run before we had to do these Joker ones, because that's how they turned out so good, I think.
Do you think hats will ever come back? They said like hats were killed.
I love hats. Man.
I always wear a hat. Yeah, I love a hat.
Because I mean, they say that it was killed by Kennedy because he didn't wear hats, and then every decade you see it kind of trying to come back, and I think hats like complete the suit and the outfit sometimes. Do you see like?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like
I think the biggest problem though again is the education. Like people don't know about the etiquette, like what hats they wear with particular things and stuff. Right. But I've got a couple of trilbies that I wear, but it's only because like if it's really cold, we live in a rainy, cold country.
I always wear a pork pie with a suit.
So Leigh's got that awful fucking pork pie.
That's a good hat.
I need to try and find a nice.
Hey, it's a Heisenberg hat. It's badass.
But the nice thing about wearing a hat is that it doesn't like fuck up your hair. If you put a like nice high crown trilby on and you've got your like overcoat on or whatever, man, it makes you look legit. But the biggest problem I think that people have with it is they're so conscious of wearing it that then it ends up wearing them, right? So the whole key to looking stylish is to make it look like you don't care.
Yeah.
See, that's it. I feel weird without a hat because I'm always wearing hats. I just got to check. Like I got from as one of my rap gifts from the producers and Todd, they gave us all like these hats. So I've got that one, which is bang.
Oh shit!
Live with Murray Franklin. That's sick.
Murray.
And then I've got another one with just like Joker logo on it. I think that's in my bedroom somewhere, but they're pretty cool.
Oh,
that'd be awesome if it had blood splattered over it.
Yeah.
We need to talk a little bit about the other rap gift that you got.
Oh yeah.
Which is probably the coolest thing in existence.
Yeah.
And Leigh, I don't know whether they're going to revoke your Hollywood card after me telling this.
Well, no. So I mean, that's fine, because if he can't talk about it, Graeme, you talk about it, because there's nothing that says that you can't talk about it.
Yeah, you don't have an NDA.
Yeah, so I was sworn to secrecy before the movie came out, but Leigh was given this insane it was like Joaquin's personal diary on set from when he was like quasi in character.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of insanity in there.
Yeah, it was just like, and from a fan point of view, it was just insane to read this. Like, looking into the mind of the Joker from a person that's actually like living it.
So yeah, Graeme was doing me a huge favour making these suits for the premieres and that. So he was the first one I took this diary to, so he could have a little nerd out reading through it. And I also gave him my I got like a t-shirt, a cast and crew t-shirt thing. They never fit me. All of the clothes you get, like I've still got a big jacket from Game of Thrones that doesn't fit me. I ordered the girl size one, thinking it might just be smaller, but it's like curved. So I was like,
"Oh shit!"
Don't have the hips for it.
Yeah.
Like the cool thing about this story was that so like looking into the sort of psyche of Joaquin when he was doing it, like just angry at everything.
Yeah.
So every page was like dedicated to a different part of the production, like. Even like food services didn't get out. It was like food services are going to ruin this movie. We're going to have to shoot because of the sound guy or whatever.
Wow. And then so he was like going total method with writing this diary.
Absolutely. Oh. And then it gets to Leigh, and it's like the only page where it's like, oh, Leigh's a good guy. We won't have to reshoot because of Leigh. It was cool. That was like shadowed in the movie too. He's the only.
That's it. Woo.
And me and Tom actually mentioned this because I didn't notice this, and obviously Tom would have noticed it. But the therapist, Dr. Kane, which is like a nice little nod.
Oh, to Bob Kane.
Bob Kane, yeah. So,
and also too.
I didn't know this first.
I don't know what I'm allowed to show, but the cover's fine, right? It just says to Leigh from Joaquin with gratitude. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome,
there's also like artwork, like defaced movie posters that have been like Joker-fied throughout the whole thing, which is just so sick.
Well, so there's only 3 actors he's written a page about, which was pretty surprising when I got to my page. It was like amazing. So, so he did one for De Niro, one for Zazie, and then one for me. But
wow.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I haven't read.
Shall I read it?
Yeah,
no,
read it.
I don't know.
Probably not allowed.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed. But no, he says very nice things, and it was very cool.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
I actually got sent to my my mum's address, and
God.
when I'm away, like sometimes I get like my mail goes there, so if it's something important, she can open it for me. But she was like, "Leigh, there's a package here." I was like, "I haven't ordered anything." I was like, "I open it," and then she was like,
"It's a flashlight."
It's a flashlight. She was like.
Not this week.
She's like, fucking hell, is wrong with Joaquin Phoenix? I was like, what? Yeah. So I drove around there pretty quick to see what it was. So me and my mum were reading through it together, and then we got to that page where like he's writing about me, and that was a pretty cool moment getting to that page with my mum.
Wow, talk about validation. I mean, jeez, that's amazing, Joaquin.
Yeah, it's cool to be in a movie, but the fact that you're in this movie with that kind of parting gift is insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And not to mention, this movie's it's a film. It's gonna change things. And it's creeping on $1 billion already, and they're already talking about how it's reactionary to like all the the cookie cut superhero stuff now. So it's cool. It's like history in the making almost, I would say. And it's so cool that you were a part of it. And man, that little token, that validation from Joaquin, man. Woo, that's pretty
good. And obviously my parents were like the most proud people on the planet, and so I took them to the London premiere, and obviously being the only British actor in it, it was like just Todd and Joaquin really came. So like the pre-drinks was funny.
Wow.
Mum and Dad was so like excited to be there, and then we went to this little pre-drinks room before the film started, and it was just me and my parents for ages, and like I was like, oh damn, sorry, I didn't really. Usually it's a bit bigger than this, but my dad didn't care because he was like, "Oh, well, it's free drinks." Yeah. So then it was this like nice little room, and then in walks Joaquin, and then Todd, and like just they were so awesome with my parents. They're great people, amazing to work with, and so so my mum got that funny Gary poster framed for me. And then she also got like this picture that we got like at the pre-drinks, which.
That's on your Instagram.
Yeah. So that's my mum and Todd and Joaquin. And me in one of the fancy suits Graham made.
What a fancy suit.
What a fancy suit.
Tom, where can I get a suit made like that, Tom?
Healy and Son. For more information, go to healyandson.com.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely.
And shout out to our other sponsor for this episode, Fleshlight.
You love.
Amazing. Glenn Fleshlight.
Just got new name.
Graham, what was it
Now he's
like?
not going to get any more work.
What was it like, Graham? Like being such a massive fan of like the comics and everything, and then hearing what Leigh was telling you about. Oh, I got this part. What was it like from the inception of like hearing that he got the role, like being a friend and a fan, and seeing how like it kind of.
Oh man, I mean, it was utterly surreal. Like, obviously, so happy for him at first, like, and that validation as well. That like the feeling that I'd had a few months prior that like something big was coming, that it blew all of my expectation out of the water. It wasn't just something big, but it was so like close to our hearts, like part of this mythos. And then hearing about the team that was going to be doing it was like, this is going to be, and obviously initially with Scorsese was on board with it, so I kind of knew that it was going to be this unusual, like aesthetic, maybe a bit more art house, a bit more, kind of dark sort of feeling thing. So I was excited. I'm a big film guy anyway. I love anything like that, but I just knew it was going to be something special. But mostly just curiosity, like how do you approach such an iconic character?
Yeah,
like when you're focusing on him, he's no longer a background character. Not that Heath wasn't a background character, but he was secondary. He wasn't the title character, right? So just wondering how they were going to approach it, and excited. What were we going to see? Were we going to see Killing Joke? Were we going to see like what elements might we see from the mythos that we already know?
Yeah.
And
it was so fun for me, like all the questions Graham had. Like, I had the script, but I couldn't tell him. It was so fun. When you just feel smug because you know something that your friend wants to know. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was strange times, and seeing him on screen, because obviously I've seen him in stuff before, but this was the first time that I'd seen him as basically himself on screen.
Wow.
So I think I put more of myself in Gary than other characters than I have, like, because I had to I didn't really have the being worried about him, and when Gary's worried about his friend, like when you see an actor that you massively admire and he's an absolute skeletal version of himself, I couldn't believe the first day I walked on set and saw Joaquin, so it was just like I was genuinely like, fuck, is this guy okay?
Did you meet him before production even started?
I met him my first day on set. That was it.
That was the first day? Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I had no idea what he was going. Yeah, it was crazy when I first saw him, and it was a changing room scene. He didn't have his top on and stuff. I was like, "Fuck me!" Like, I was moaning for months that I had to grow my hair out.
He legitimately was. Actually,
I was non-stop moaning that I had to grow my hair because it just because everyone has an aerial view of my head, So if you're losing your hair, you just got to shave it off, right? Like. But,
we were out for a friend's birthday, right? And,
it looks like an egg in a bush, you know what
I mean? So it was basically we were out for one of our other buddies' birthday parties, Nick Jones, right? Yeah. Amazing drummer, great guy. Drums for a band, or used to drum for a band called Tailor, if anyone knows it. But we're out for his birthday in London, and the whole night I basically felt like all Leigh was doing was moaning about his hair, because you're such a ladies' man now as well, right? Like you can see that you sort of lavish in the attention of like people approaching you. And this was pre-Joker, right? So no one knew about this, so it wasn't even on the same level that it must be now. But it's the first time I've really seen him self-conscious about this.
Yeah, because man, like you want to do movies, like you think, oh yeah, have you seen me in that film? You gotta be like, hey, I'm the guy with the shit hair.
What's it
under that bus.
I did kind of feel a bit guilty how much, because I do like to moan about stuff. I find it fun, but like when I saw like what he had gone through to prepare for his character, and all I had to do was have shit hair. You know? it did put that in perspective a little bit.
But genuinely, it's like one of the most caring people I've ever met. He's like one of genuinely the nicest guys that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Oh, thanks, Greg.
Right? I mean, I don't know why I'm telling you this in front of you, but, so like that really came through in the character. Like I could see that was himself, and I think that was part of what made him such a scene stealer, right? Was that it was so genuine, like you know, it was it was a really organic part, I think, for you. And you know, I'm so used to seeing you like dressed up as an elf or like, you know, so it's
over the top comedy villain or something.
Right. Yeah. So it's it was pleasing to see that like this was the big one, right? So far, this is the big one. And seeing you on screen as yourself and not a caricature of yourself or a different character, like, you know, it was nice that that it was so organic.
Yeah, because when he started crying in the apartment, I was like, yo, that feels so real. Like he's panicking and crying, and he's like, oh no, and I just like that's fucking good acting right there, man. Like that just doesn't come from a place of school. That's like he's conveying something. So, like I said earlier,
what's your trick to start crying on screen?
I want to know this actually, because like you, Lee's like not. I don't feel like you've had that much adversity through school. You've always been like really happy about shit. No one gives you any shit, and when you do, you like hit him in the face. You know, you've had a couple of scuffles, right?
What? Everyone's had a couple of scuffles.
But it's so it's like you're not a dark guy, right? No. You know, you've always embraced, like, accepted the limitations, you know, physical limitations,
reaching locks, etc.
Yeah, reaching locks, and I've always just sort of rocked it and always like overcome. Like the guitar thing was a big thing, obviously. Like you find your own way of playing guitar.
Yeah. So when we played in the band together, obviously I was a guitarist, but I couldn't do it like with my hand underneath the fretboard, so I made up my own style of playing over the top. So yeah.
Actually, there's one of my favorite stories about Leigh, which I'm going to have to share because this is great. So when we were in the studio, we were doing one of our EPs, and Leigh had just laid down some guitar parts, and we were listening back to them, and I could, he was concentrating, and he was playing air guitar along to his parts, right? But he was playing air guitar the way a regular guy would play air guitar.
I can play air guitar that way, mate.
Right. Yeah. So, and something was like odd to me. I was like, something's odd with this picture. What is it? And then it struck me. It's like, oh, you don't play guitar that way. You play guitar with your hand like coming down over the top of the fretboard. So I was like, why do you play air guitar the other way, but you play guitar, this kind of your own way?
It's a different instrument, mate.
His response was amazing. He said to me, I'm going to do my famous impression of you now as well. Right. He said, well, I used to play air guitar the way I play normal guitar, but everyone thought I was playing air piano.
Air piano. It's weird. You can't play air. It makes sense, people see me playing guitar, they're like, okay, he must have to play it like that. But yeah, if you start playing air guitar like that, you look like a knob.
Yeah, it's legit. But oh man, that's my favorite story about Leigh.
So what I wanted to get into real quick is I see the Shining Blanket and the Jason shirt. Is it safe to say that you're a horror buff?
Yeah, I've got
So what?
Why are you playing that? Like he's got a giant gremlin like sitting 3 feet from us.
Oh shit! Is that the Dr. Gremlin from part 2?
He's got Mowgli over in the corner.
I've got the Thing jigsaw puzzle I'm working on.
Nice. All right, so I have to ask, what are your top 3 favorite horror movies for both of you? Let me say that stuff.
This jigsaw puzzle I got, the Thing one.
Oh wow! Woo! Did you complete that one? That looks crazy.
I regret buying it because it's so hard.
Jesus.
But One day it'll be done. Top 3. Wow, I don't know.
That's a tough one. We're both big Carpenter guys, right? You're a big Carpenter guy.
Yeah. John Carpenter wrote a Joker comic that came out just last month. Did you read that?
Oh shit!
No way.
That was an issue.
Just a one shot, right?
Yeah, just a one-off story. Not, it's not tied down to any storylines or anything. He just got to do a one-off story of Joker being crazy.
Yeah, I've actually got a Jason tattoo. I'll show you as well. Yeah.
Oh, you got a tat? Oh, shit. Let me see.
Yeah, but see, I'm like covered in tattoos, by the way.
Man,
you got some good work.
Well, Max, my ex, was a tattoo artist, and a lot of my friends are as well. So.
Oh, that's always good. All right, so like, if you had like a one go-to horror movie, then what would that be for you guys? Both of you?
Oh, okay.
Oh man,
I love these.
I see. Like, I love stupid ones as well. Like I love the Chucky movies.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like a big part of our youth was Leigh like dressing up as stuff. Like, and his costumes were like the thing of legend, like locally. And his mum was always coming up with like amazing costumes.
Every year I'd be like, right, Mum, this year I want to be Gizmo. So she made me like a full-on Gizmo costume.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The Chucky one was amazing. That was like nightmare for so many people.
Yeah.
Chucky Saw was the other one.
I had
crazy.
a tricycle and did that.
Oh, you got a tricycle too?
Big
That's
Saw.
crazy.
Yeah, pretty wild. Matt, I think actually mine would be The Thing.
Yeah,
I think that's probably my go-to.
Thing's amazing. Obviously, Shining is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
But
those
I mean, yeah,
those are good choices.
Are you interested in the new Ewan McGregor movie that he's coming out? What's
very
it called?
interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Doctor Sleep. Yeah,
Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, I hope it's good. You know, like you can't.
I'm actually not convinced by the most recent trailer, but I mean, McGregor's incredible. So you know.
Actually,